Hello. Imagine a wardrobe that makes getting dressed easy, enjoyable, and empowers you to embrace a more intentional lifestyle. Join me today for a minimalist wardrobe journey. When it comes to developing your own style and having a wardrobe you enjoy, more usually just means more. More chaos, more confusion. More options doesn't equal more satisfaction. Establish the key values that you want for your personal style, for your wardrobe. Is it about comfort? Is it about glamour? Is it about looking appropriate for the career path that you are choosing? Establish some core values that will move you in the direction that you want to move in. Because you need to have restraints when you shop, you need to have restraints about what you keep in your wardrobe as well. And having some values to guide you is an excellent way to do this. Regardless of how big your wardrobe is going to be, how, aesthetically minimal it's going to be, I think you'll benefit from considering these minimalist values. Find a number that works for you. How you find that number is not by looking at the wardrobe of someone online who is an extreme minimalist. It's about testing out what genuinely works for you, testing out how many pieces realistically you wear a week to the activities that you do most. How many pieces realistically do you need for a particular season? How many pieces you realistically cannot wear in that season that you need for a different season. Establishing the number of pieces that work for you, it's not a thing that happens in a day. It's not a thing that happens in a week. It's a process that occurs as part of taking note of what gets worn in your wardrobe. And I'm gonna give you the same tip I gave you in the Transform Your Style video, and that is keep a wardrobe diary. If you are learning about your wardrobe, keep a wardrobe diary, because this will help you figure things like this out. There is no right number. It really varies upon your lifestyle, where you live, what you do with your time, your career, etc., etc. There really is no specific number that you need, but I would strongly recommend that you figure out the number that works for you. And now a word from today's video sponsor, Squarespace. If you have a big creative idea, then really the best place to start is to create a web space that really reflects your ideas. Squarespace is an all-inclusive platform that will allow you to build your website with ease, as well as sorting out your domain name. Whether you want to sell memberships, services, showcase your work, sell your own products, promote an event, Squarespace has you covered with a range of beautiful templates designed to make creating the website of your dreams easy. You do not need to know any programming languages to be able to create the website of your dreams. Design intelligence can help you build a more beautiful, more personalized website. From there, you can add images, words, even sounds that will help communicate your unique vision. Squarespace can help you with email campaigns, integrating social media, as well as detailed analytics. And Squarespace also does give you the option to use popular payment methods such as Klarna, Apple Pay, Afterpay, and ClearPay. Squarespace has an awesome offer for you today. To get 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain name, all you need to do is go to www.squarespace.com, start your free trial, and when you are ready to launch, use this here URL. excuse me for a moment. I had just started editing this video and I realized that some of what I was saying, like, it felt it needed more anchoring. There's this question that one of you asked recently that really illustrates more of the context, more of the anchoring. This was a comment from Hannah Cox. I would love to see a video where you talk us through your process for brainstorming and shifting to a new theme. The first bit of real conversation that needs to happen here is that in terms of simplifying your style, if you do have a very varied style, if you do have a really large wardrobe, the first step really is to come up with an idea and a theme. I'll be honest with you, none of my themes have just sort of come from nowhere. They've usually come from lifestyle changes. If you are trying to change your wardrobe in some way, it usually does anchor back to something that's happening in your life. Maybe you want to change your job or where you live or what you do with your time. Maybe it's also about changing phases of life. You're wanting to be perceived differently. Maybe you just feel like you've matured in certain ways and certain things just don't work for you anymore. But definitely a big part of this conversation is having an idea of what you want to transition to and what it is you are trying to achieve. Are you trying to look a certain way? Is there a certain style that you're more attracted to these days? Is there a certain ease that you're after? Whatever that transformation may be, you do need to start with a question like this. Where am I trying to go and why am I trying to go there? And that will make the whole process of doing the other bits in this video that we're about to get to, it'll make them make a lot more sense. I think the conversation is incomplete without discussing the fact that you need to have a direction that you're moving in. I don't really see the point in simplifying your wardrobe or going for a more minimal wardrobe unless there is something specific you are moving towards. Go with one in and one out, at least at the beginning stages of your process of figure out what's going on. While for me, one in, one out probably isn't going to realistically work. It might work for you. If you are someone with an overwhelming wardrobe, it might really help you out to say, hey, this t-shirt is definitely the correct kind of thing for where I'm at in this particular setting, in this setting. And you know what, that thing over there that I've barely touched over the last 2 years, that can now go, because it either replaces the purpose of that thing that wasn't as good as this one, or maybe it actually proves to me that that thing, which just never was going to work in the first place anyway. Definitely embracing a mindful approach to shopping will help all of us fashion divas out. What I mean with that in this context is shopping in a way that What I mean in this context is that you are shopping for your style. You are not shopping for trends, you are shopping for your style. You are shopping to meet specific goals for your specific outfits, for your specific formulas, for your specific occasions. Quality over quantity at all times, especially when it comes to accessories. The only time I would say don't worry about quality is if you are testing out a style or a color. I guess in that circumstance, it's okay to have a little bit of an experimental, cheaper piece in there. But generally speaking, once you know that a particular style direction works for you, try to invest in more quality pieces rather than low quality pieces. And of course, you need to look after what you own. So find ways to make sure that you are purchasing things that are easy to look after or that you have the capacity to look after. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Okay, one more. So creating your minimal wardrobe is about establishing some core pieces and some core formulas that really represent you and the things that you realistically do with your time. Now, aside from the really obvious basic matters of figuring out the kinds of colors you wear, the kinds of patterns, if you are into pattern, the kind of shapes, designs, fabrics, textures, etc., aside from having rules around those elements of your personal style, there's also a method to ensuring that the pieces that you do have, the pieces that you do love, are durable, that they are high quality, so that you can make use of them over and over and over again. And I guess that's one of the keys of having a smaller wardrobe. Everything should really be high quality. I'm not going to tell you where you need to get these things, because honestly, as someone who loves fashion and is always on top of, what brands are bringing out, not a lot of designer brands are creating high quality these days. And honestly, sometimes, as much as I don't want to shop mid-range brands anymore, sometimes it's the mid-range brands that have the cashmere, 100% cashmere, and it's the sweater that costs $1,600 that is a blend. But having high quality pieces is an absolute essential part of having the longevity of your smaller wardrobe. As someone who once had a wardrobe of 30 to 40 pieces, let me tell you, I went through clothing quite quickly, and it was still good quality clothing. But the fact is, when I was wearing the same things over and over and over and over again, doesn't matter what they were made of, they were just going to get worn out. When it comes to wardrobe, I definitely believe that less is more, that the more narrow you go, the better for you, especially if you are trying to workshop things and figure them out. More is more works a little bit better when you have figured out your rules, your formulas, and you are just adding to those. But having a large wardrobe of things that aren't for you, let's be real, they're not for you, that can really result in psychological distress, like feeling overwhelmed. That whole scenario of you are about to go out, you're leaving in 20 minutes, and you have nothing to wear. You have no idea what to wear. You try on 30 different outfits, you don't like any of them. That can be a direct result of having a large, chaotic wardrobe. And so some people would say, well, isn't it quite materialistic to assume that your wardrobe can affect your well-being? I don't know, is it? We've been dressing ourselves for time immemorial, since the first cave people threw their furs upon themselves. People have been dressing to represent who they are for generations and generations and generations. I would say it's a very human thing to do. So if you do live in a situation where you don't like your outfits, they don't represent you, you don't feel like you're dressed appropriately for the things that you do, come on. As if you're not having some sort of a psychological effect of this. I would recommend that if that is you, it is time to sit down and really workshop your wardrobe, really ask yourself some questions, really look into it, really break it down. The initial effort of putting some hours of effort in, say a day or 2 or 3 or 10, can result in a better overall wardrobe and a better life experience overall. And I also do think there's a bit of a roll-on effect to not having the things that make you feel good in your wardrobe. I do believe that if your wardrobe is full of things that aren't for you and you don't get satisfaction from them, it is easier to go impulse shopping. It is easier to continue adding to this large wardrobe. So taking the time to sort things out really can save you some money and effort as well in the long term. So I use the word minimalism in the title to get you to come on over here. But realistically, we're not talking about a specific way that your wardrobe needs to look or act. What we're talking about is simplicity overall and simplifying the process of your wardrobe. Now, in terms of the aesthetic, does it have to be minimalist in aesthetic? Absolutely no. It's about creating a sense of freedom and ease and simplicity in getting dressed. And that can happen in any number of aesthetic formulas. What it ultimately does come down to is defining your style. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be boring. Your style doesn't have to be boring. Your style doesn't need to be made up of really, really simple pieces. Look, a lot of people would look at my style and say that it's very boring, and I would probably agree with them. In all the shopping that I've done, in all the years of being alive, and all the different moods and phases of wardrobe I have gone through, I certainly have found that at the end of the day, the pieces that I will wear the most are the pieces that are the simplest, the easiest, the most basic. But that doesn't have to be you. The reason that that's worked for me is because ultimately my inner eye just appreciates simplicity. It really does. I don't like having a huge number of things stuck to what I'm wearing. I mean, there are buttons on this sweater. Do you know how rare it is for me to have buttons in my wardrobe? My wardrobe is a result of my inner aesthetic guidance that says simplest is best, but it doesn't have to be that way for you. While I limit my color palette, I like simple shapes. I do not like patterns. I do not like little bits hanging off. That knowledge that I have is ultimately a result of testing out things over a number of years and figuring things out and spending the time on trying to figure things out. But if you already know that you are someone who is more attracted to eclectic colors or patterns, maybe you prefer more avant-garde design, there are some really great creators out there that I follow on Instagram that, you know, they maybe have a very limited wardrobe, but they're only interested in avant-garde pieces. Like, that could be you. You could have a really colorful wardrobe that's still really simple to utilize, easy to work with. But ultimately, what I'm getting to with this conversation is that you need to figure out the essence of your personal style and the essence of what you are most attracted to in your wardrobe, which pieces you are most likely to gravitate towards, which formulas make you the happiest. Now, I'm not going to go into how to figure out your style because I've certainly talked about that a lot. And even recently, I did post a whole video on how to transform your style in 6 easy steps, which I will link up here for you if you do want some more ideas on that part of the journey. But back to what I was saying about your wardrobe not having to be boring, it is in fact imperative that the pieces that you do have enrich your life, that they, you know, I hate to be stereotypical here, and I know I don't want to make this video about, you know, traditional trad minimalism, But let's be real, your outfits need to spark joy. You need to find some joy in how you dress. Now, does that mean that you need a huge, overwhelming wardrobe? Absolutely not. And I do often see in the comments of my own videos or videos with similar topics, ideas, some people get fixated on, oh, well, this is boring to me. This is boring to me. Two things can be true at the same time, which is something our society really struggles with these days. But two things can be true at the same time. Like, you can have a small, narrow, specific style, and you can still have an exciting, fun time. It could be still be full of whatever you find interesting and exciting. It could still be full of glamour. It can still be full of avant-garde aspects. It could still be very designer driven. It can still be very colorful, very patterny. The two things are not mutually exclusive here at Patricia's home on the web, okay? So please don't get that twisted. Don't get it twisted. It's not about that. It's not about you coming here, seeing some things in my wardrobe or looking at some of my past videos and going, oh, blah, I would die of boredom if that's how my wardrobe was. Hey, I know plenty of people who feel the same. It's about balancing those two aspects. And again, I will still argue that even if you like things to be more flamboyant, avant-garde, colorful, interesting, if you still have a humongo wardrobe, I'm going to say hundreds of pieces. I have about 100 pieces in my wardrobe these days, but I'm going to say hundreds of pieces, beyond 200 or 300 pieces. I think that's ridiculous. No one needs that. If you are getting to that point, I can guarantee that you will find more joy in simplifying things, in minimizing things to an extent. So in terms of defining your style, figuring out your style, it is about finding the puzzle pieces that you find personally most satisfying and finding a way to web them together, to make them fit together without all the chaos and distraction. Your wardrobe really should enhance your experience. And what does that mean? What does that mean in 2025? Well, first of all, you feel confident. Confidence would be the main thing, right? If you don't feel confident in what you're wearing, story's over. I don't know, don't bother. Don't bother if you don't feel confident in what you're wearing. Now, what makes you confident is going to be very different to what makes me feel confident. So there's some exploring to be done there. And actually, under all these points that I'm about to mention, definitely confidence is something that enhances your wardrobe experience. Ease of use. There's no point in you having 1 million things if you cannot find the 5 things that really work for you, and if it causes you stress and chaos. Another way in which your wardrobe should enhance your life experience is through feeling like you are dressed as yourself. Whatever you're wearing represents you authentically as you are, but also where you want to go in your life. It also isn't reliant on what other people think. It is absolutely nothing to do with how other people think and how they're dressed. I am very dressed down compared to everyone in a lot of the social circles that I roll in. I'm always the most toned down, and yet I feel very confident in what I'm wearing. There's so many points I could make about this, but in terms of keeping your style minimal and simple, knowing exactly what to wear when you have a specific occasion pop up is another key indicator that your wardrobe is enhancing your experience. You do not need to obsess, you do not need to worry, or at the very least, if you don't have the specific kind of thing ready to go for the specific event that you're going to attend, you know where to get it, you know what kind of thing to get. When it comes to those sorts of events, not feeling overwhelmed, not feeling lost and confused, and having a bajillion different options that you feel very torn up about. All these things, they contribute to a sense of ease and simplicity and minimal lifestyle, if you will. It's about your wardrobe supporting your lifestyle rather than distracting from your lifestyle. When it comes to decluttering, what I would say is that you really need to figure out the style stuff first, and then you can look at what you have an excess of. If there are pieces that do not make you feel good, say goodbye to them. Do a wardrobe audit. You know, you don't have to take your whole wardrobe out and do it in one big go, but at the very least, work category by category. Like if you know summer's coming up and you have 30 million t-shirts, get all those t-shirts out before summer and realistically say, I want that one, I don't use that one, and I don't use that one, and say goodbye to the things that you do not use. Ultimately, When it comes to decluttering, the sooner you get it out of your life, the sooner you have solidified the decision. While it's important to take your time and not just get rid of things for the sake of getting rid of things, you will need to make some decisions at some point. So you will need to pull the trigger at some point. Make sure you're able to do that. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for your support as always. I'll see you soon. Bye.